Some of you may know I earn my living as a construction manager, but what you might not know is that I remodeled some of the most remarkable private personal properties in the Bay Area, high-end residential in very affluent areas. Carmel by the Sea, Palo Alto, Seacliff, Tiburon, and Woodside. One of the first and most memorable projects I had was a spectacular home in Pacific Heights. Stunning panoramic views of the Golden Gate Bridge and the San Francisco Bay. Renovating this magnificent mansion was unique for me because we were also preparing the servants' quarters. I had never seen servants' quarters in a house before, except maybe in the movies. This is where the domestic staff lived and worked. Butlers, cooks, maids, nannies, what we call the help. What is the help? An old-fashioned way of naming people who work in the house. Servants' quarters was not the only unique aspect of this project. I collaborated with a very wise old architectural consultant who shared his years of wisdom with me. He had worked on many celebrity homes. And one day he said to me, we were standing in the home, he said, "Take a good look around. It's very impressive. And you will have access to the master and the lady of the house. They will call you, and they will be nice to you. But make no mistake, we are the help. Know your place." By place, he meant our lower socioeconomic status compared to the affluent elite. He told me, when the construction is done, you will not be invited to the open house. The construction took 2 years, and he was right. He said, you won't be invited to eat a meal with them. He was a wise man indeed. The Bible has much to say about wealth and wisdom. Psalm 49, which is not in the readings today, says, "Do not fear a man when the wealth of his house grows great. In death he will take nothing with him. This is the fate of those who trust in themselves and have others at their beck and call." This is the fate of those who trust in themselves and have others at their beck and call. Beck and call. Well, beck is an English word, medieval English. It comes from beckon. And that is when expected servants are gestured to come forward when the master calls for them. And call, well, that's a verbal command. So that's how we came up with beck and call. Speaking of calling, I was remodeling a condominium on Nob Hill. The lady of the house called me on a Friday evening very late. Her speakerphone was on and she was driving her car with her girlfriends. And she proceeded to start scolding me, complaining about cost and schedule. Invalid complaints. We were on schedule and I was going to deliver the house on time. But she was grandstanding. In the gospel today, Jesus talks about bad behavior. Beating the men servants and the maid servants. Beating does not always imply physical harm. It can also mean verbal abuse. Like the browbeating I received from the gal grandstanding with her gal pals. In the gospel today, Jesus also gives us another example of bad behavior, specifically drinking and getting drunk. I once worked on an extremely beautiful beachfront property. It was memorable also because of bad behavior. The owner would occasionally call and text me late Friday after downing more than their fair share of adult beverages. Let's pause here. Just to be clear, bad behavior was the exception and not the rule. I worked on many luxurious homes, and most of the people were polite and personable. In the gospel today, Jesus talks about masters and servants. Each are mentioned 9 times. That's significant. Why? Well, master and servant are given equal weight. Each one is important because we are both servants and masters. At the blink of an eye, we go from becoming a servant to a master or a servant. Here, master refers to both men and women. The question becomes, when we are the master, how do we treat the servants? When we are the master, how do we treat the help? Are we abusive? If we own a business or manage people, do we call or text them late, during the evening, in the weekday, or on the weekends? If we own a business or our manager, how do we treat our employees and our team members? We are all masters in the worlds of hospitality, retail, and restaurants. How do we behave with our brothers and sisters in the service industries? How do we conduct ourselves on calls with customer service representatives when things aren't going well? When we travel on business or vacation and we speak to airline representatives or the hotel staff and things aren't going well, how do we behave? When we're dining somewhere, what's our interactions like with the waiters and the waitresses? And finally, alcohol consumption. Do we drink and dial? Do we drink and text? Or do we just drink too much? In the gospel today, Jesus says, give alms. And where your treasure is, there also will your heart be. Almsgiving is being charitable with our treasures. Our treasures are the gifts that God has given us. Money, time, and our words. Every day there's opportunities to take time to give from our hearts to help others, the homeless. When we go to the cashier to pay for goods or services, often these stores, these retail establishments, are promoting a charitable cause. You can actually make a $1 donation or whatever you want to give right there at the cash register when you're paying. And then the other popular way to pay for a charity is to round up. So that if you buy something for $7.50, you can round up to $8, and that 50 cents goes to their charity. Lots of ways to love our neighbor. The first reading from the book of Wisdom is about the Israelites' faith that they would be rescued from Egyptian enslavement. That rescuing, that saving by God, that event is called the Passover. The second reading is from the letter of Hebrews. It's all about Abram's faith and trust in God. And so too, our faith and our trust in God. We started out talking about wise advice. We read from the book of Wisdom. I mentioned an invitation to dine that did not come. But Jesus said, there is a special place at a dining table for us. If we love God and we love our neighbor, if we treasure the teachings, the truths, and trust in the wisdom of God, Jesus told us in the gospel today, blessed are those servants whom the master finds vigilant, whom the master finds faithful. On his arrival, I say to you, he will have them recline at table, and the master will proceed to wait on them. If we are good and virtuous servants of God, then we will spend an eternity with Jesus at the Passover feast of heaven, which will be infinitely better than dining with any celebrity here on the earth. Amen.